Hello, everybody. Welcome to the fourth installment of our Sticky Bleachers podcast. And I am Bobby here with you today.
And I am Corey, as always, on the other side of the world. Hello, Bob.
How's it going, Corey?
Doing very well. Have you ever had one of those days where you wake up in the morning and you go, I don't know what's going to happen today. And then by the day's end, you've seen another man's thing. And you go, wow, when I woke up this morning, I had no idea that sometime during this day, I was going to be looking at another man's situation.
No, I can't say I've had that happen, but has that happened to you today?
That happened to me, not today, but happened to me this week. I went for a hike, and it was, I would say, about 38 degrees Fahrenheit here, where we went for a hike along the sea. And we were doing a long loop that goes by a couple of little private secluded beaches, not too far from the city of Dublin. And we were well past the touristy bits where the folks who just kind of the day walkers get to. We were well beyond that stuff. So it was mostly just a little bit more fit hikers who were out there with us. And there's a small beach there that's kind of sheltered. It's kind of private. And my wife and I sat down. We were having our packed lunch. A couple of other people were coming down. There was a couple rock climbers who were doing some rock climbing, and a couple other people having lunch. They were all outdoorsy folks. And remember, it was about 38 degrees here, and the water temperature here in Ireland is only a couple degrees above freezing as well. And so these guys come down, and one of them sits down and just starts playing on his phone, and the other one walks down to the to where the waves are crashing against the rocks. And I was eating my tuna sandwich, and I was like, oh, that's funny. And this guy takes his shirt off, and I was like, oh, wow, he's taking his shirt off. And then just takes his pants off, and he's just down to his boxer briefs. And I went, oh, wow, is he going swimming? What's going on? And then like off come the boxer briefs, and in he goes to this water. And I was like, oh my goodness gracious, that guy is totally naked and in water that is barely above freezing. Like, whoo. That is something else. And then just he swims around for a few minutes, and then just confidently as you please, like just strolls on out of that water towards me and the rock climbers and everybody eating their lunch. Just
making memories.
Making memories. And I thought this is one of the more memorable tuna sandwiches I've ever eaten in my life. I don't think I have ever.
Now, can you have tuna sandwich? Can you eat tuna sandwich without thinking of his situation now?
Well, see, I don't know. I have not tried to eat another tuna sandwich since then. Maybe my brain will forever associate strange dongs with tuna sandwiches. I don't know. I haven't tried to eat one yet.
That might be something to bring up in your therapy sessions. So
someday I'm gonna need them.
Yeah.
But I just like, wow, this guy is, I mean, not only is he confident in just, I'm just going to drop trow in front of God and all these other people here on this beach, get into water that there's corals, there's jellyfish, there's all kinds of concerns that I certainly wouldn't want that around me. But
he must have, I wonder if he lost a bet. I wonder if it was like a fantasy football bet or something.
Maybe, I don't know. They do play fantasy soccer here, and they call it fantasy football.
That's what I meant. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so fantasy football.
That's the only thing.
Yeah, I had to ask somebody. This is not regarding another man's package, but I did have to ask some people who are fantasy soccer players here. I said, so what statistics do you use in soccer besides like goals and like assists? I was like, okay, assists I know and goals I know, but like what kind of stats do they keep? And they've told me there's a few kind of stats that they keep, like some defensive stats like steals or tackles or clean breaks, and a few other more subtle statistics. So a little bit like basketball, where we keep track of rebounds, and steals and blocks all separately. Similar in soccer, where things that don't score points can get you some statistics, at least in terms of fantasy football.
In the fantasy realm.
Yes, and of course, because gambling on sports is very big here, there's a lot of money leagues. But as it is in America, there's a lot of money fantasy leagues too. So, first time I was like, wow, fantasy soccer. That is, it was a very foreign concept to me when I first heard about that here.
Very much so, yeah. Is there legal takedowns in soccer? Can you tackle somebody and not get flagged for it or carded?
Well, you can strip the ball from somebody, and if they if they flop over you, I guess it's up to the ref. I mean, I don't think you can just take out their ankles.
Does flopping exist only in soccer and basketball? Is there any other sports that you can think of where flopping?
American football has had a lot of flopping problems. There was also some flopping in the naked swimming that the guy was performing for us on the beach, probably.
So it was synchronized nude swimming. Right?
Yes, synchronized nude swimming with, he was trying to get the foul. He was trying to draw the foul, Sometimes
you gotta always try to draw the foul. You gotta always try to draw the foul. Get to the line.
You gotta sell the charge. Sometimes there's contact. Could go either way. You gotta sell it. It's always fun to see both players trying to sell the charge or the blocking foul. So two guys bounce off of each other, hitting the ground.
You can make a pretty good living if you can take a charge. Or look like you can take a charge.
Yeah, well, that's right. Well, I don't have that skill set. I at least at an NBA level, I don't think I can sell taking a charge at the NBA level. Shaq really has that locked down forever, I think.
Yeah, I don't think we'd be here if we could take a charge in the NBA. I think we'd be doing that still. But
yes, right, you are. Yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting in soccer. I don't know. The flopping certainly is, and it has come under criticism. Believe it or not, United States of America. People in Europe are aware that flopping is a problem in soccer, and they're trying to fix it. Contrary to what I hear a lot of Americans say, they are aware.
Well,
I mean, much like the NBA. The NBA is trying to fix it also. They're trying to make it a foul to flagrantly flop. That's a tough one to spit out. Flagrant flopping.
Yeah. That's just a nice alliteration to get the word jumble out of your mouth.
Yeah. Flagrant flopping, yeah. That's a tongue twister. But in Europe, they are aware that flopping is a problem. They're just like, okay, how can we talk Ronaldo and Messi into not flopping so much?
Is the FIFA mafia going to take care of it then? Or
yeah, see, I don't know. That's another thing is that there's love for FIFA is at an all-time low, which means that the world still loves them.
Yeah, well, I love it. I love shady organizations running other things. I mean, it's always fun. Adds an element of surprise and intrigue.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, FIFA is like the New Jersey of international sports.
Great analogy.
Thank you. Yeah. That's as good as New England being the Metallica of football, Bob. Yeah. That was yours last week. That was beautiful.
Yeah. Well, we're pretty good with our East Coast analogies that we can come up with. So
yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, let's talk a little bit about New England there, Bob. What do you say?
Yeah, that was a perfect segue there. We can go right into perfect. Just as we drew it up.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, exciting match between the Patriots and the Broncos over the weekend, and definitely went the way that not a lot of people thought it was going to go. Especially our sim thought the Patriots were going to win. I thought the Patriots were going to win, and if I remember correctly, you thought the Patriots were going to win, right?
That is correct, Bob. Both yourself and myself picked the Patriots to win, and our sim had them win in overtime, 20-17. I think all of us just thought that the evil empire was infallible and could not fall, but it turns out that they had some nicks in their armor, and Denver was able to exploit.
Yeah. I don't know, but did you get a chance to watch that game at all?
Yes, I stayed up for that game. It ran up till about midnight local time for me, so I did stay up to watch that one.
Well, it was a very exciting game. I think definitely got your money's worth if you tuned in to watch it or if you went to the game. But
that's right. It came down to a 2-point attempt, did it not?
Yes, it did. It was a very fun drive.
For everything, yeah.
Belichick kind of questioned afterwards if he should have gone for the field goal instead of going for it on fourth down. I believe he went for it on fourth down 2 or 3 times in the fourth quarter. So left some points there out on the field, but as it turns out, the Broncos escape with the victory and on to the Super Bowl. So it's a nice story with Peyton Manning. Definitely wouldn't mind seeing him go out on top, as I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't mind as well.
Yes, the tide seems to be pointing to Manning trying to win that Super Bowl and then going out on top. Maybe shades of his new boss, John Elway, quitting while he's ahead there a little bit. But I don't know what would happen if Peyton does not win this Super Bowl. I mean, he does have it with the Colts. So gone will be the Dan Marino-esque questions of can he be historically elite without the Super Bowl rings? But
I think it's only a competition between him and Eli right now. I think Eli with his multiple Super Bowl championships. They can always, beat Archie and say that at least they have Super Bowl championships. But
yeah, but Archie in his Aints years, there's really not much Archie could have done.
no,
There wasn't. Archie could have been doing a lot, but when your fans are showing up to your games with bags over their heads,
never a
I
good
don't.
sign.
Yeah, it's
Plastic bags, no less.
Well, New Orleans, they can't have luxurious things like paper bags. They have to smother themselves and their children in plastic bags. Although, yeah, I would have a hard time. Protesting my team by buying an expensive ticket and then going to an expensive game with a paper bag over my head with a sad face drawn on it. That's a really, really. You mean that protest when you go to an expensive football game with a bag over your head.
Yeah, that's what they were fighting for in the 60s with the protest movements and everything like that. That's what they were aiming for, was just to have fans go to a game and put paper bags over their head to protest pro football teams. So
yeah,
it's very awesome political activism that we have going on here in America.
Well, I'm glad that our parents' generation fought so hard in the 60s so that we have the right to complain on Twitter about football teams that we like moving to cities that we don't want them to move to.
Yeah, we've really come a long way, so... Full circle.
So, speaking of moving, the Arizona Cardinals moved over to Carolina to take on the Panthers in what was a snoozer of a matchup. Now, our sim had the Cardinals winning 14-7. I think both of us thought that the game was going to be a little bit more high scoring than 14-7. Bob picked the Cardinals because I think you liked some of the magic you saw in the earlier in the playoffs. Bob, is that right?
Yep. Apparently so. But as we've found out this playoff season, my picks usually aren't a good thing for the team I'm picking for. So
we'll get there in a minute, Bob.
Yeah. But I definitely thought the game was going to be a lot closer than that. It was over in the first quarter. We just didn't really realize it, and Arizona could just never really get anything going. And Carson Palmer was pretty inaccurate throughout most of the game, and questions about his dislocated finger that he suffered a few weeks ago came into play. But yeah, it just seemed out of sync. And David Johnson, the UNI running back, had a nice game, and seemed to be all the offense that the Cardinals could get going, and just wasn't enough. But the Panthers, as I said last week, I thought any team that won that NFC Championship game had the best chance of winning the Super Bowl. So although I'd like to see Peyton
I remember
go.
you saying that, Bob. I remember you saying that, and we'll see if your pick this week lines up with this when we look forward to the Super Bowl next week. We'll see if you stay with that. But I do remember you calling that the winner of this game was the odds-on favorite, at least at that time. Yep. I'm very glad when I watched the Michael Irvin recap of this one the next day. I'm glad that one was later for me, and that I got to watch the AFC game because, as you said, it looked like a snoozer that was just over as soon as things got picked off. I did pick Carolina. I went with the popular choice. I went with the hot girl of the NFL playoffs this year, and as it turns out, I was correct in that one. So our picks overall, you ready for the update, Bob?
Oh, unfortunately, yes.
Our picking score, here we go. In first place, it is Corey with 7 wins and 3 losses in the picking score. Up next by percentage is actually our Sims with 3 wins, 6 losses, and 1 tie. And then just a half a game behind in the loss column due to that tie is my good friend Bob. 3 wins, 7 losses of the 10 playoff games that we have picked and that have gone off. So
I picked with my heart too many times. It's just it burns you every time. But
yes, the pop songs that say "listen to your heart" are just wrong, Bob. You gotta go for the hot one. So next week we'll have our big Super Bowl picking show. So we'll see if Bob can pick up a game on our Sims when we run our Super Bowl sim. Now, Bob, this week it kind of got some traction. The official TechmoBowl.org crew did make a I suppose you could call it the Tecmo Super Bowl simulation of the Super Bowl of record, because it was made by the official agency of TechmoBowl.org, who I see them as the commissioners of all things Tecmo in the modern day. So they did run a simulation that got some traction on the internet. I don't know if you saw that this week.
I did see that. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised to see that when I was searching through the internet, and it's nice to see that they're doing it as well. And I'm sure they've done it before in the past, and we can. I didn't actually watch the simulation, so I didn't see who won the game. Did you, by chance, watch it?
I did watch it, and I do not remember now who it was because I believe the video that they published was a just a highlights video. I don't know
Right.
if they published the long form version of the game. They may have over on their forums,
Yeah.
but the one that was making the BuzzFeed rounds was a condensed version of the game. And I do not now remember now who they had picked. So we'll bring that up maybe when we get up to a Super Bowl show. We'll do our simulation, their simulation. We'll see if anyone else runs any other simulations. Maybe that octopus that picks World Cup games will make a selection. Who knows? We'll talk about picks for the Super Bowl next week.
Got our big Super Bowl episode coming up. So this is our big Pro Bowl episode. So we'll get into that later on.
Lots of exciting things for the Pro Bowl. But so when that NFC game was just drifting into boredom, Bob, how did you handle that?
Oh, well, I was actually live tweeting the game, and once it got out of hand, I think Luke Kuechly had a pick six interception, and at that point it was just over. And Twitter started to kind of blow up a little bit with the Royal Rumble, and so I switched over.
Bob tweeting on Twitter. That is twitter.com/Sticky Bleachers. Go on, Bob. Sorry.
Yes, and so I switched over to the Royal Rumble and went a little nostalgic there and watched the Royal Rumble begin. So it was fun because I haven't watched wrestling in well over a decade. I was big into it in high school and everything, so I was familiar with what I consider the classics of Stone Cold and The Rock and DX and all that fun stuff. So I thought the Royal Rumble would be a good way to kind of get reacclimated with the WWE and good chance to see who's villains and who are the good guys and everything. And I got to say, it was very entertaining to watch. So watching the 30-man Royal Rumble, and Triple H ended up winning it at the very end.
But it was a classic.
Yeah, it was fun to see how many wrestlers I still knew. It was fun. Chris Jericho was in it. Kane was in it. So really surprised Goldust was still in the roster of the WWE.
He's still going. Did that
Looking
family
crazy.
did that family just lose a member of their family? The
Dusty
Goldust,
Rhodes?
Stardust.
Yeah, Dusty Rhodes died a few months ago.
Dusty Rhodes Sr., right?
Yeah, Dusty Rhodes Sr., yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, then there's, I don't know if there's any connection because it must have been new to me at least. There was Stardust, which looked a lot like Goldust, a lot of the same mannerisms and everything. So I wonder if that's Goldust's child. But
child, or I don't know if it's another
brother.
Rhodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We have to do some investigating on it, but.
Now, Goldust used to wrestle under Cody Rhodes. Is that right? Or is that a different person?
I think that's a different person, but again, It's been so long. Goldust, or I'm thinking Dusty Rhodes, because I think Goldust is Dusty Rhodes Jr. He might be.
But, he's okay. All right.
But then he became Goldust because that's the obvious progression from Dusty Rhodes to Goldust.
That's what you got to do.
That's what you do.
Yeah. Now, I saw on Twitter someone said that with with Ric Flair at the announcer's table, it sounded like there was an owl loose in the match.
Yes.
With the wooing.
When in doubt, woo. When in doubt, woo.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. It'd be Ric Flair should be on like a Wu-Tang album or something. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
or they should at least sample him. Yeah.
Maybe they have.
Yeah, give him Method Man some ideas.
I should call up our friend, Ghostface Killa. Hey, how well do you know my friend, Mr. Nature Boy, Ric Flair? Mm-hmm. Woo! The one, the only.
ODB, rest in peace.
Respect.
Matt.
Dusty Rhodes and ODB, I bet, would have been good friends, and I'm sure that they are pouring one out for us in heaven these days.
Absolutely. I'm sure they're friends right now. So, but it was really fun. AJ Styles, who was an old ECW independent hardcore wrestler, he made his WWE appearance. He was I believe, the second or third guy in the Royal Rumble, which was really fun because you can open up storylines and everything with him, and he's one of those high-flying, put his body on the line type of wrestlers. So it was fun to see him, and I was very impressed. Chris Jericho came in very early on, and he lasted throughout most of the match. And he was one of the last people eliminated, but always nice to see Y2J, one of the most entertaining wrestlers out there. So.
Yeah, he has the short hair now, though. Do I remember? And does Triple H also have shorter hair?
Yeah, I believe Triple H has a buzz cut now.
Okay.
I think.
And is Triple H and Stephanie still an item?
I
Stephanie
believe so.
McMahon?
They embraced in the middle of the ring after the Royal Rumble, and of course
He didn't.
Vince
He didn't
McMahon
throw
was
her.
doing
He didn't eliminate her on the hug.
no, no.
Ah, okay.
But of course, Vince McMahon played a wonderful heel, and one of the newer wrestlers that I had to get familiar with was Roman Reigns, and he was the title holder going into the Royal Rumble. So Vince McMahon, being the evil guy that he is, put Roman Reigns in first, and whoever won the Royal Rumble was going to get the World Heavyweight Championship. So they took out Roman Reigns like halfway through the Royal Rumble, and then like beat the crap out of him. But he wasn't eliminated. He went through the bottom rope, and then he got the crap kicked out of him. And then they had to take him into the back, but he wouldn't go on a gurney, much like Mankind in that Hell of a Cell match. He just wouldn't stay on the gurney. So,
That's right.
yes, but Roman Reigns came in later on in the match, and but eventually was eliminated by Triple H. So, but it was fun though to watch everything happen, and it was.
Yeah.
I forgot that Lemmy did Triple H's music, his entrance music. So that was always fun to hear the game again and hear Lemmy's voice. So
so
speaking of.
That's another is another loss to us. So we've got this. We've got lots of rappers, lots of wrestlers, and rock and roll artists awaiting us beyond this life, Bob.
Yeah, I don't think any wrestlers though have used any David Bowie or Eagles songs though as their entrance music. That might be some new stuff that they should do.
Goldust would be a good candidate for a David Bowie song.
Yeah, you would think like Fame or something. But
I like that.
That might be a fun comment thing. What David Bowie song would be the best wrestler entrance music? The Eagles would be a little more difficult, but we can throw them in there.
Yeah, well, but you'd like Honky Tonk Man could do Take It Easy or something. But did Honky Tonk Man show up at the Royal Rumble?
Oh no!
Rumble?
But man, that'd be fun.
Did Doink the Clown make it in?
No, but
no,
all those guys I wanted to see.
I did watch some in the week leading up to it. I didn't watch the event, but I did see some a countdown of some Royal Rumble champions, and some of the highlights that they were playing did have the green-haired Doink,
yes.
very easily recognizable in a ring full of big men. The only one dressed as a clown.
And that's what I love about the WWF back then is that they had all these crazy characters and they were just kind of throwing darts at a board and seeing what would stick. And it's kind of funny how when they were sued by the World Wildlife Federation that forcing to become the WWE, they kind of embraced that whole sports entertainment aspect, and then they really opened up a whole new like demographic of people that were kind of like. It didn't matter anymore if it was fake or real or anything like that. They were just tuning in to see entertaining storylines and impressive physical feats and stuff. So that was coincidentally kind of when I started to check out, but I'm still baffled by how popular it is nowadays. And
hey,
it's still pretty good. So
the kids love it, Bob.
The kids love it. Yep.
The 12-year-olds just cannot get enough of that PG-13 wrestling, where these men that we're supposed to believe just absolutely hate each other and are ready to literally go to blows over these disagreements, and the best zingers they can come up with are, "I think you're an ugly man."
Well, and also too, the amount of like criminal offenses that these guys can just get away with at any point in time, like just kicking the crap out of somebody in a street or like destroying their car or running over people with a car. That's happened before. A number of criminal acts have happened on Raw or SmackDown or
yes.
pay-per-view.
Well, everything's on the table or through the table when you're dealing with wrestling.
I was interested, intrigued when at one point I forget who the wrestler was, but he came in and the first thing he did was go underneath the ring and grab a ladder, and they brought a ladder into the Royal Rumble. And I'm guessing it was a little joke that they were trying to do. Like he thought maybe it was a ladder match where he had to like climb to the top and get the championship belt. But I thought it was a bit interesting that they'd still keep ladders underneath the ring. You'd think by now they'd learn to not store a ladder underneath the ring.
After
or
all
tables
these years.
or chairs. Find a new storage spot, because that's always inviting people to go and break the rules.
Well, that's right. Well, storage space famously short in a lot of those big arenas that they rent out. Where was the Royal Rumble, Bob? Did you catch that?
No, I did not catch that, actually. I didn't tune in at the beginning, but
Okay.
I do know that the Spanish announce table was destroyed, so it was an official wrestling match. So
well, lo siento, my friends.
mm-hmm.
I'm
It's
sure
standard.
Vince McMahon does not care that the Spanish language table got smashed up. I don't know
Well,
where he's watching it.
Well, that's what it's there for. It's there to get smashed. So,
How were the Spanish announcers okay, or did they?
Yes.
Were they injured?
No, I believe the Spanish announcers were all right. So
they were okay. Okay, all right.
Yeah, but anyway, the Royal Rumble did bring stir up the nostalgia, and I went online and speaking of some of the trash talk, I went online and found on Soundboard the best Macho Man Randy Savage quotes that I could find, and so I thought it'd be fun to kind of share those with you and everybody, and we could kind of just see what Macho Man has to say about some of this stuff.
I love it, Bob. To that I say, oh yeah.
And here's the first one. This one is called Tower of Power.
I'm the Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour. I'm funky like a monkey. Sky's the limit and space is the place.
Space is the place, baby. Wow. R.I.P. Macho Man, who had to go to his grave before Vince would put him in the Hall of Fame. Space is the place, buddy.
Yep, space is the place. Very philosophical there.
Yeah.
And
all right.
So here we go. Here's the next one here. This one's called No Pukesters here.
No pukesters helping me to the left, and no pukesters helping me to the right.
Man.
I think he might have been referencing Vince McMahon in that one. So
was he? Well, that voice is just so iconic. I remember that voice from Slim Jim commercials and promos for what was coming up next on TBS or TNT. Who had the big show back then?
On
the big weekly show, yeah. Was it TBS or TNT?
TNT had WCW, so it probably would have been them.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but yeah, he's got one of those voices that you almost feel like pain when you hear it, just because you wonder how he could maintain that voice for so long. Kind of like Rod Stewart
all those years, man.
Yeah, but very unique guy. And here's another one. This one's called "Cry Some More." So this shows Macho Man's softer side.
It's okay for macho men to show every emotion available right there, because I've cried 1,000 times, I'm going to cry some more.
Well, he and Elizabeth did have a turbulent, on-again, off-again, drama-filled relationship.
Absolutely. And but he loved Elizabeth very much. And again, kidnapping was okay. Like apparently
she was kidnapped so often.
So often. So many times.
She needs somebody watch out for this woman because she's carried away by large men.
Yes. And Macho Man can't fight off every large man that tries to take Elizabeth away. So
Right. As
intriguing
much as he tries. That elbow can only do so much damage to so many people at a time.
Exactly. It takes a lot out of Macho Man. So just one of them wonderful storylines that the WWF has provided us. So here's another one. This one's called I'm Your Friend.
I'm your friend, but if I ever see you in the ring, I can beat you. Don't you know? Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Well, I'm glad to have never stepped into a ring with the Macho Man because I certainly wouldn't want to take the elbow, whether I was in the ring or you've often seen him jumping off that top rope into the outside the ring area, Bob, into the concrete.
Yeah,
devastating.
Exactly. Yeah, and he could deliver that elbow any which way that he wanted to. So I would not want to be in the ring with him as well. And he's
also, the old double axe handle off the top rope was another favorite of his if he wasn't willing to lay out.
Exactly. And because he had the skullet, that headbutt that he would do would really hurt. And there was no hair to pad anything. So
that beautiful skullet, that Macho Man classic skullet.
He and Hulk Hogan, I think, drove the bandana industry in the mid to late 80s and into the 90s. But
yes, also the bright yellow cowboy hat and fringe jacket with like tinfoil fringes hanging down. They're just so shiny.
Yeah. I don't think that fringe jacket has ever gone out of style.
The shutter shades before Kanye did, except they had like a star pattern on them.
Mm-hmm. Very true. And it's about time that we start calling Kanye out on stealing from Macho Man Randy Savage, because he's done it too many times.
Over and over.
Over and over again. Next thing you know, you'll see Kanye doing Slim Jim commercials.
Actually, that would be. I could watch that. I could watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just
snap
calling it
into
right
a
now.
Slim Jim. That's my Kanye impression.
That was a pretty good one. Yeah.
Just my normal voice, but you say yeah at the beginning
Yeah.
of something.
Have you seen my wife?
Yeah, dig it.
Again.
Because
look
you
at
got
what
to do the Randy Savage.
Yep.
It's like, oh
Kim
yeah,
Kardashian
dig
is
it.
Kanye's Elizabeth. So.
Oh yes, oh that's
Yes.
beautiful. Is Elizabeth is still alive, isn't she?
I believe so.
She
We're
needs
gonna have
to
her on
a-
the show next week.
Yeah, she needs to have as many Instagram followers as Kim Ye.
Yeah, Kim. Is that their celebrity couple name, Kim Ye?
I don't know. Isn't that their kid's name? Kim Ye North.
I thought it was North, and
West?
then I didn't see the other one. I saw
Yeah.
that she popped out another kid, but it's wonderful. Now you can just be a celebrity for having kids.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Someday, Bob. Maybe we'll be celebrities.
Yeah. Anyway, but here's the last one that we got, and this one's my favorite. This one I think is like an expression roller coaster. So I love what he does with this one.
My curiosity is killing me just like a cat would be killed by the curiosity, yeah.
Wow. Curiosity killed the cat.
Yes, more philosophical wisdom there by Macho Man,
And I wonder what he was looking for there. He was, I don't know, what was the storyline around that one?
Mm-hmm. We'll have to do some more investigating and get back to you on our Super Bowl episode.
Yeah, that's right. I wonder if Sid Justice was involved.
Yes. Oh, I'm sure it's Sid Justice. And, of course, Macho Man always had great feuds with Hulk Hogan, whereas other people would team up with Hulk. Macho Man always seemed to have some type of beef with him, which was always fun.
Yep.
He played a very
Macho Man
lovable heel.
Didn't have the longevity in the career like Hogan did. He seemed to kind of fade out there in the mid '90s, and we didn't hear too much from him, did we?
Well, he went over to WCW, and he had a pretty successful career over there for a bit. It wasn't till like the late '90s that he kind of started to peter out and started just living in Florida and making headlines for causing like real assaults and actually getting arrested for them. So,
ouch. Well. Assaulting people in real life are not rest in peace there to the Macho Man. So, Bob, speaking of sports entertainment, fake sports entertainment, what about the Pro Bowl this weekend?
Oh, perfect segue.
Yeah.
I'm not very interested in the Pro Bowl. Never really have been, and I don't know what they're doing and stuff with the whole draft and everything. I don't know. Never really.
I appreciate them trying. I do appreciate the gesture of at least showing us that, like, all right, we understand that nobody cares. We're going to make an effort. We're going to try, people.
Yeah.
And even if it's a big flop, at least they did something different. So, but in the 21st century, it's almost hard to justify all-star games at all now. I mean, because they come from a tradition of a time. When you think of like the MLB All-Star Game, the tradition was you couldn't just turn on your TV or go on Twitter and see all of your favorite athletes all day, every day, all the time. The All-Star Game was the chance you had to see all these names that you would read in the box score of your newspaper on Sunday morning every week. But now we don't need to. We don't just see these names in a box score in our newspaper. We see them all the time, and they go, oh yeah, okay, all right.
Well, and I also think too. I mean, football is such a physically demanding game that people tune in for the outcome of the game. I mean, they're not tuning in just to watch it just for the fun of it. They are invested in the outcome. And so to have a Pro Bowl where there's nothing on the table, nothing to play for, you're just risking injury by all these great athletes. And so like me as like a Viking fan, like I don't want Adrian Peterson to touch the ball in the Pro Bowl. I'd rather him just sit out and not do anything. But
right.
Because there's no point to playing such a physically demanding game just for the fun of it. So maybe they should take a little bit, some tips from the WWE and make it more of like a spectacle and stuff, but more like a Harlem Globetrotter type situation where it's just like trick plays and two-hand touch or something. But
there's a lot of discussion about that. Now, I have an honest, real question for you, Bob. That I have to admit, I know it's about time we got serious on this Sticky Bleachers podcast. To be very honest with you, until I looked this week and saw that they were doing this draft thing, I had no idea that that's what they were doing. And I did not know, is this the first year they're doing it, or have they been doing it for the last like 5 years? And
They've done it for the last couple of years. They've done it for the last couple of years.
I guess even that fact, and me, as I consider myself a football fan, the fact that they made this drastic change to the Pro Bowl and it just completely escaped my attention. I was trying to think. I was like, what is something that I can remember that ever happened in the Pro Bowl? And the only thing that came into my mind was, didn't it end in a tie once and Commissioner Bud Selig had to come out and end it? And I was like, no, that wasn't the Pro Bowl. That was the MLB All-Star Game in like 2005. So my only memory of the Pro Bowl was actually of the MLB All-Star Game.
True football fan.
yeah. So it's just what does that say to the efficacy of the Pro Bowl in this day and age?
Well, again, I don't think it's ever really mattered. I don't think it's ever been something that a fan wants to tune in for. And as you mentioned earlier, back before we had social media and access to everything all the time, it probably had a little more value to it just to tune in to watch another football game. But at this day and age, I mean, how many people were selected for the Pro Bowl? 130 some?
133 as of the day of our recording, which is still a couple days before, so there's still time for players to back out and those players to get that phone call at their couch and say, hey, how about an emergency overnight trip to Hawaii? Because the entire offensive line decided that they're not going to go through, as you pointed out, Bob, the physical rigors of what a game of tackle football does to a human body.
Yeah.
They decided they're not going to go through it, so we need five guys for the team Irvin to.
And I'd actually just go even farther with it and just say we don't need the Pro Bowl at all. Like, you can hand out the accolades because a lot of the guys use the Pro Bowl as leverage in salary negotiations. 4 Pro Bowls or yada yada yada. So you could be elected to a team and still have the acknowledgement that you were good that year, but then you don't actually have to go to Hawaii and play this exhibition game and everything like that. And other sports, you see, like with baseball, they put the home field advantage in the World Series on the line for playing the game. And I'm not a huge fan of that either.
No, me neither. I think that's lame.
Yeah. I think probably the best all-star activity is the NBA, where they do all the different shooting contests or the slam dunk contest, and the game is not even secondary. It's way down the list as far as things to watch. And they also
you would suggest for the NFL a 12-year-old kids punt, pass, and kick competition.
Sure.
For the NFL, just have the guys come out there in their shorts, punt, pass, and kick.
Yeah. I think that'd be. I mean, just have fun different trials, and they might have actually tried to do that in the past. I never tune in to watch it, and I don't think any of the gimmicky stuff they've ever done has made me so intrigued to show up and watch it. But
how about this, Bob? Yahoo user McGiblets suggests, why not just host a charity softball game and call it a day? Something the players don't really have to risk their bodies, and they're doing it for a good cause.
Let's bring back Rock and Jock. Let's do that.
Bring back Rock and Jock. So you have the NFL All-Star Game, and they don't even play football.
I love it. Now that I would tune in for. Watch him play some baseball or some softball. And
Chris Rock could be mixing it up in there.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber could be on the team. It'd be crazy.
Dave Coulier, get him back out there.
Dave Coulier could play softball with these NFL players. This was on an article about the Pro Bowl being so bad that everyone is backing out, including the coaches. Packers coach Mike McCarthy says, I'm sick. I'm not going to fly to Hawaii and bother with this nonsense.
I don't blame him.
User Big West from Yahoo says, anything that involves Michael Irvin is trash. Ouch. Just piling on Michael Irvin.
Poor Michael.
Christopher.
He's lucky, though, that he has a career still. I mean, I know.
He's made it successfully on TV, certainly. Christopher says, I regretfully announce that I will not be watching the 2016 Pro Bowl. Unfortunately, a replacement viewer could not be found. So more piling on to the Pro Bowl there.
Yeah.
And one more suggestion for a Pro Bowl fix, Bob. Let me know what you think about this. Rich Meyer on Twitter says, why not make the Pro Bowl players versus NFL refs? It fixes two problems at the same time. No more bad calls throughout the year, and players will definitely attend if they have a chance to play against the regular season refs.
Yeah, that might be something. That might be something to get the viewers up and actually to get the players to show up for the game. So,
and I think Ed Hockley could probably spear players just left and right. He could just lift guys up in one hand and just slam them down.
Again, we add that pro wrestling element in there. You get some choke slams and some pile drivers and everything.
So you're
really
suggesting now you're suggesting the XFL should return. That when they play the Pro Bowl, they should play with XFL rules.
I never thought the XFL should have left in the first place. I'll go on record of saying that right now.
All right, Bob.
He hate me.
Okay. All right. Well, the Pro Bowl this week, as of the recording here, we just did a simulation of a Pro Bowl game, not this Pro Bowl game, because the technology that we use to record our sims does not allow for this crazy idea of cross-conference teams on the Pro Bowl. So we did,
especially with these updated rosters and stuff.
That's right. So we did run a simulation of the default Pro Bowl teams on Tecmo Super Bowl. So you will see all the names that you love, like Jerry Rice, one of the team captains of the Pro Bowl this year. QB Bills, who refused to lend his name to Tecmo Super Bowl all the way back in 1991, as did QB Eagles, who I think was Randall Cunningham, but I am not sure about that in that year. But so you can catch that on our YouTube channel. And that one had the AFC team win. I don't know which Team Irvin or Team Rice is the AFC or NFC coach one.
And I don't think they go by conference anymore. So it's just a draft, and they have all the NFL players to choose from. So I don't even think it's NFC versus AFC anymore. It's
now,
just
how about
Irvin
how about the
versus
coach though? Was there Mike McCarthy was having a Green Bay assistant coach? Does the coach of the other team come from the AFC?
It might be a collection of just of coaches, whoever will show up and stuff. Because I mean, coaching in the Pro Bowl is kind of redundant or almost an oxymoron, because you're just letting these guys go out there and do whatever the hell they want to do, basically.
That's right. Don't get hurt out there, boys.
Yeah, which is the biggest thing. So again, I think it is, though, just Irvin versus Jerry Rice's team. I just think there's no conferences involved or anything, and I'm sure Eli Manning will be the MVP because he's going to be in there all game long. I love that he gets drafted for the Pro Bowl just by default, just because there's no other quarterback. And same way with Russell Wilson, but
right. So you're thinking that those teams they're just going to ride those quarterbacks for 60 full minutes in the Pro Bowl. Just get out there, guys.
Just Eli. Just Eli.
We're just going to. Well, do you remember backyard rules? You could have all-time QB if you had an odd number of kids. Maybe that's what they should do. All-time QB, Eli Manning, just both sides.
I'll call out Eli. He better do it, otherwise he's a pussy. So just calling him out.
All right, Bob's going on record for a lot of things here. He's putting his emphatic stamp. Yeah. Wow. All right.
Absolutely.
Well done, Bob. So we ran that sim. Let's not bother picking. Let's wait to the Super Bowl to pick. What do you say, Bob?
Yeah. Let's just do MVP. Who do you think is going to be the MVP of the Pro Bowl?
MVP.
Yeah.
Of the
most valuable player.
Why don't you ask me if I can name a player who's going to be playing in the Pro Bowl? and we'll see if I can correctly pick the name of a player who will get field time.
Yeah, just throw one out there. We'll see. We'll cross reference after, and we'll see if you're right.
I'm gonna say Julio Jones. I'm gonna say my pick.
I think he is in there.
My pick for a player who's going to show up and get and log field time in the 2016 Pro Bowl is Julio Jones. Bob, what's your pick? He doesn't.
Fair enough.
This player doesn't have to log any stats, but they have to log at least one snap.
Yep, and we have to see them at the game. We physically get video evidence of them being at the game.
Well, no, I think they actually have to play a snap. They can't just be like in the concession stand getting a pina colada.
Yeah, it can't be Eddie Lacy getting hot dogs at the concession stand.
Yeah,
so.
No. So I'm picking Julio Jones playing at least one snap, running at least one route. He doesn't have to make a catch. Now, who's your pick, though?
Oh, someone that's going to show up and play at least one snap. I'm going to go Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson is going to play at least one snap, says Bob. So let's see next week if our picks are correct. So I am picking Julio Jones to at least log one snap, and Bob is picking Russell Wilson to at least log one snap. Going for the easy answer there, Russell Wilson.
Yeah, well, It's got to play.
You're down far enough in the picks, Bob. I certainly can't blame you. Ooh.
I can't play with my heart anymore. I can't
piling
go out on the limb.
Piling on.
I figured that next week with the Super Bowl simulation, I just have to go against whatever our Tecmo Bowl simulation says, just to save face. So.
That's right. So in all of this this sadness involving the Pro Bowl here this week, something that's been making me happy in sports entertainment, speaking of non-off-the-field issues, would be the Twitter account of one Brandon Phillips, the famous Cincinnati Red. He's a boisterous gentleman who likes to have fun on Twitter, and he said a couple weeks ago, hashtag wildcard playoff, sometimes it's just not your day. Hashtag Ray Finkel in regards to the Blair Walsh bungle at the end of the Seattle-Minnesota game, which I thought, Bob, you would find particularly painful.
And I liked Brandon Phillips going into this segment, and man, that one hits a little too close to home.
Well, more recently, this one's a little bit less controversial for Vikings fans.
Mm-hmm.
Just the following words. Hashtag enjoy yourself. Then a smiley face emoji with dollar signs for eyes and a dollar sign on the tongue. And then another smiley face emoji that's wearing sunglasses but no dollar signs. Just a simple message from a simple guy.
Yeah, you got to love grammar in the 21st century. We're left to smiley faces and dollar signs and hashtags.
That's right.
Inspirational sayings.
Well, if you want more things like that, you can follow Brandon Phillips at DatDudeBP. And if you want more stuff from Sticky Bleachers, you can follow us on Twitter at Sticky Bleachers. You can find us on YouTube as Sticky Bleachers. You can find us on Podomatic and iTunes as Sticky Bleachers, Bob.
Absolutely. You can Google Sticky Bleachers and find all the wonderful stuff that we do on the internet. So
yes, we are all over the place. And I think that's going to do it for this week of the Sticky Bleachers podcast. I am Corey. We're signing off for now.
I'm Bob. We'll see you next week for our Super Bowl episode. So stay tuned.
Play ball!
Sticky.